Welcome back. Good afternoon. We start with escalating tensions in the West Bank, where 5 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces on Sunday. The Palestine Liberation Organization's Wasil Abu Youssef states that this escalation goes hand in hand with the Gaza war. West Bank tensions surge. 5 Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank amid heightened tensions. PLO's Wasil Abu Youssef links the escalation to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Telecom blackout grips Gaza. Paltel reports a 48-hour telecommunications blackout in Gaza, citing the death of 2 employees during service restoration efforts. The situation raises concerns over communication access in the region. Houthi warning amid U.S. strikes. Houthi spokesperson Mohammed Abdul Salam warns that U.S. attacks on Yemen won't deter Houthi targeting of Israel-linked ships in the Red Sea. Tensions escalate in the region. Gaza toll soars. Grim statistics reveal over 23,968 casualties in Gaza since October 7th, with more than 60,582 wounded in Israeli attacks. International concern grows over the humanitarian crisis. Hamas attacks impact Israel. Death toll in Israel climbs to 1,139 after Hamas attacks on October 7th. The region grapples with the aftermath and escalating tensions between the conflicting parties. Medical crisis unfolds in Gaza. Dr. Mads Gilbert, with over 2 decades of experience in Gaza, declares the ongoing healthcare collapse as the worst man-made medical disaster in modern history. Gaza City's mayor reveals a dire fuel shortage, paralyzing essential services, while overwhelmed hospitals in the south struggle with 61,000 injured patients lacking critical supplies like antibiotics and anesthetics. Healthcare system in collapse. The dire situation in Gaza sees a crumbling healthcare system with severe shortages, as Dr. Mads Gilbert points to intentional actions by the Israeli government, supported by the U.S. With hospitals unable to cope and lacking vital resources, the crisis deepens, posing a grave threat to the well-being of the population. Systematic disaster unfolding. Describing it as a systematic man-made disaster, Dr. Gilbert emphasizes the intentional nature of the crisis, orchestrated by the Israeli government with full U.S. support. The unfolding tragedy marks a dark chapter, raising concerns about the devastating impact on the health and well-being of the people in Gaza. Israeli forces arrest 25 students. Tension escalates in Nablus as Israeli forces forcefully enter Najah University, arresting 25 students participating in a sit-in protest against the institution's high tuition fees in the occupied West Bank. Campus clash over fees, and Najah University becomes a battleground as students demand a resolution to the soaring tuition fees. The Israeli intervention adds fuel to the fire, triggering concerns over freedom of expression and assembly in the region. Protest suppression raises concerns. The arrest of students during the sit-in amplifies concerns about the suppression of dissenting voices. The incident raises questions about the ongoing challenges surrounding education affordability and student activism in the occupied West Bank. Houthis allege sovereignty violation. Tensions rise as Houthi rebels claim to have fired a missile in response to a perceived violation of national sovereignty by a U.S. aircraft near Yemeni airspace. The U.S. military confirms the missile was intercepted, avoiding any reported injuries or damage, marking the second anti-ship ballistic missile launch amid escalating conflict. Houthi complaints of U.S. aircraft activity. Houthi spokesperson Mohammed Abul Salam lodges a complaint, asserting that a U.S. aircraft was spotted dangerously close to Yemeni airspace and coastal regions on Sunday. Describing it as a blatant violation of national sovereignty, the Houthi statement adds a layer of complexity to the already tense situation. Escalating aerial tensions, with the U.S. recently targeting Houthi positions and the rebels responding with missile launches, the aerial tensions over Yemen intensify. The incident highlights the fragile nature of the situation, with both sides accusing each other of provocative actions. Israeli forces raid home of longest-serving Palestinian prisoner. In a reported incursion, Israeli forces target the family home of Nail al-Barghouti, the longest-serving Palestinian prisoner, in Khobar village, Ramallah, West Bank. A verified video shows the aftermath, with overturned furniture and scattered utensils. Al-Barghouti, Initially arrested in 1978, served 34 years before being released in a 2011 exchange, only to be rearrested in 2014 under Article 186 of Military Order 1651. Palestinian Prisoners Society notes him among 559 Palestinians serving life sentences. Israeli cabinet to discuss 2024 budget changes. In response to the ongoing dynamics, an Israeli cabinet meeting is set to take place to deliberate adjustments to the country's 2024 budget. As reported by the Hebrew-language newspaper Ma'ariv, Bank of Israel estimates high war costs. The Bank of Israel's projections indicate a substantial financial commitment, estimating around 210 billion Israeli shekels, $56 billion, earmarked for the Gaza war between 2023 and 2025. The current expenditure stands at 24.7 billion Israeli shekels, $6.6 billion, underlining the significant economic implications of the ongoing conflict. Financial implications of Gaza conflict. As the Israeli government grapples with the financial fallout of the conflict, discussions around budget adjustments underscore the economic challenges posed by the sustained military engagement in Gaza. Israel's war on Gaza reaches 100 days. As Israel's military campaign in Gaza hits the 100-day mark, global protests intensify, with rallies in Malaysia, South Africa, the UK, Indonesia, Thailand, Japan, Italy, Greece, and Pakistan demanding an end to the conflict. Despite widespread calls for cessation, Israeli assaults show no significant slowdown, raising questions about the duration of the war. Prolonged conflict raises concerns. The continued military operations in Gaza, coupled with ongoing support from the U.S., fuel uncertainty about when the conflict might come to an end. As hundreds of thousands worldwide voice their plea for peace, the persistent nature of the hostilities prompts speculation on the potential duration of Israel's war on Gaza. Global pressure mounts for ceasefire, with the conflict's longevity drawing attention globally. The mounting pressure for a ceasefire becomes a focal point. The intertwined dynamics of international protests and geopolitical support make the duration of Israel's military actions a subject of heightened concern and speculation. Anti-war protests in Cyprus. Approximately 300 anti-war protesters gather outside the Royal Air Force Base in Akrotiri, Cyprus, in response to the United Kingdom's participation in recent US-led strikes on Houthi positions in Yemen. The base, serving as a staging point for Typhoon fighter jets involved in the operation, becomes a focal point for demonstrators expressing dissent against military interventions. Public outcry following UK involvement. The UK's participation in strikes prompts public discontent, with hundreds rallying to denounce the military actions. The protests underscore growing concerns over the involvement of Western nations in conflicts, particularly those like Yemen, and their impact on global stability. RAF base draws criticism, as the RAF base in Akrotiri becomes a symbol of UK involvement in international military operations. The anti-war protests highlight the need for public discourse on the country's foreign policy decisions and their repercussions on a global scale. Solidarity soars in the skies. In a show of unwavering support for Palestine, Indonesians take to the skies in Naran Hamlet, Sleman Regency of Yogyakarta, Java. Flying kites adorned with the colors of the Palestinian flag, the event is part of the global initiative, Fly a Kite for Gaza, bringing communities together in a symbolic gesture of solidarity. Kites carry messages of hope. Against the backdrop of a rice field, the vibrant kites not only showcase solidarity, but also carry messages of hope for Gaza. The global movement transcends borders, uniting people in peaceful expressions of support amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. Symbolic gesture spreads worldwide. The act of flying kites in the colors of the Palestinian flag becomes a powerful symbol of unity, resonating globally. As Indonesians join the Fly a Kite for Gaza events worldwide, the initiative spreads awareness and advocates for peace in the face of challenging geopolitical circumstances.